So, so let's talk about the idea of placement of persistency and getting policies issued. Okay, so, like, especially for a brand new person, glory, hallelujah, we got a sale. You're fired up about a sale, but this is where all the real work begins. Because now with the sale, you make the sale, it goes into underwriting, okay? And then underwriting has to go through its machinations, okay? So what this block looks like expanded is they check the MIB, okay? So this is the Medical Insurance Board, right? They want to check to see if there are any flags, okay? Any flags that said that the client, that's inconsistent with the application. The other thing they do is an RX check. So they check for medications. Are the medications in the database, and I think the RX is like, the last 5 years of medications, are the medications consistent with how they answer the questions? Because now they're not asking so much medications anymore because they know they can get it, but is it consistent with the issues that they find with the client had disclosed on the health questions in the application? And then they do a motor vehicle report, okay? So they check for moving violations, okay, DUIs, etc. Okay, this is all the information that's out there that they check against the application, okay, to determine whether or not they're going to issue a policy, right? And this is a lot of information, and if it's not consistent with what's in the app, they're going to decline it, or they're not going to decline it per se, because if there are questions, any questions about any of that, okay, this is where it falls into requirements. They're going to ask you, they're going to do a phone interview with a client, okay, they're going to ask you, they're going to get the agent to get the info from the client, okay, they're going to, so phone agent, they could do, depending on the type of policy, they could do an APS, which is attending physician statement. So they're going to, on fully underwritten, so this is only on fully underwritten policies, they're going to ask for doctor's records, okay? There's all these requirements. Sometimes, let's expand this out. They may want to verify, like, Social Security number sometimes, or verify date of birth. There are going to be different verifications. You're thinking, well, I thought they put it in the application. I thought I put it down the application. Sometimes you got to verify that. The other thing too, and it could be because you wrote it down wrong, incorrectly. So any incorrect data that you put in there that you caused can also, cause the requirement to be produced on on the website, that you need all this stuff verified. They're not going to issue unless you get all this stuff done. So, like, if you're brand new to insurance, welcome to life insurance. Okay, welcome to your job, which is getting your stuff done. Okay, so verification of information. All right, I'm going to put the chat line up. As some of you agents out there, suggest other things that they're going to have all these requirements. You have to answer the mail. That's why you need to check your website daily, and you need to call them daily and find out, hey, is there anything that I need from the client? Anything that you need to know? Okay. And then from all this, once you get the requirements in, they may yet not issue. Okay, so this is where they either accept or decline. Okay, and sometimes they accept at a different rate. They might rate it up. Okay, so this is the part that agents get pissed off about, or mad, I'm sorry. They get mad about. They get mad that this happens Well, this is how insurance works. The insurance company's not going to take on a risk that's beyond what they know, because they're in the business to make money so they can pay us. Thank God that they stay in business, because we want them to stay in business, right? And you can bitch, moan, and complain about all this, but this is how the real world of life insurance works. But Alex, I thought it was all simplified issue. Yes, simplified issue, except for this part. They've got to meet the health standards, okay? And when they find issues, they're going to want to know about it. Like, they might want to know the A1, what is the client's current A1C reading? Well, Alex, I thought they took diabetics. They do, but they found something in the MIB that flags something for them, or there could have been a medication change, right? There could have been something in all of this that caused them to ask these questions, okay? Now, some carriers are more anal than others. Some are more difficult to work with than others, but this does not mean that you don't do your job here, okay, in getting it pushed through. Now, it doesn't happen on every client. Now, if you're finding that every client has an issue, guess what? It's the man or woman in the mirror, okay? You have to look at you. And a lot of this could be caused by you not asking the question correctly, not putting a backbone in the client and getting them to tell you the truth about their health. The thing that really torques me off the most is when a policy gets declined based on the information on the application, okay? Like for example, height and weight. We got height and weight charts because it allows you not to put a height and weight of a person through a product that won't accept their height and weight, right? That totally like torques me off. That it was within your power. So a lot of this could be averted. I'm not saying a lot. Some of this can be averted by you doing your job better in the home when you ask client questions. So, for example, when you ask the client, before you ask the medical questions, you have to preface it with, okay, now, Joe, I'm going to ask you some health questions. And on the application, we're going to ask health questions. Now, it's important that you disclose everything that might be wrong with you when I ask the question. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be declined. It just means we need to be as accurate as possible on the application, because all the insurance companies have access to the Medical Insurance Board database. And that MIB is what we call it, is the clearinghouse of all your health information that's been reported that are typically adverse health information from your health insurance companies, because they all use the same database, and they're going to upload into it any adverse health issues that you have. And it's going to be flagged. And what they're looking for, Joe, is that what you put on your application is consistent what's been reported in your database. So if they see anything in your database that you should have said yes to on the application, they're going to think you're lying and you're trying to hide it. Well, you can't hide anything, Joe, okay? And you may not intentionally be trying to hide it, but they're going to find out all your stuff. And I know the question is, how come we're not, how come we can't just let them check that? And it's like, well, they want to know if anything new has popped up, okay? So do you understand why it's important that we answer as accurately as possible? Okay, does that make sense? Okay, there you go. You emphasize to them, you're telling them not to lie, but you're not saying those words, don't lie, Joe. You're saying we need to be as accurate as possible, so your answers match up to what the database says about you, And there are different ways to phrase it to make it sound better. But the bottom line is you got to get that client to make sure they fess up with everything wrong. Like, have you been declined any policy application in the past? Okay, this is how you smoke out the guy that's trying to use you, thinking that, okay, I got declined by the other guy, but maybe this person I can get approved with. this is what you got to explain to them. Now, the reason why they ask this question is that also shows up in the MIB if you've ever been declined insurance. So the insurance companies are going to know you've been declined before. So we have to make sure we answer this question accurately and then give them the reason why it was declined. Do you see how all this makes every bit of difference in trying to get a policy issued? My requirements was taking MOO's money laundering course. They do not accept the Alliance course. Yeah, okay, so let's talk about anti-money laundering. Like we are trying to get, I'm trying to get Brenda to get everyone to take the Alliance course and the LIMRA course. If you take the Alliance course and the LIMRA course, that covers every single company, the LIMRA course and the Alliance course. Okay, so if you're brand new and you haven't taken those yet, you need to do that ASAP. Now, I know the LIMRA requires another company, one of our carriers, to put in that you're going through the contracting with them so you show up, but I don't know if there's a way to take LIMRA before you even have that going on, but you got to take LIMRA and the Alliance course. That'll cover you for everything. Does anyone have anything contrary to what I just said? Anybody? Okay, so if you do LIMRA, I mean, the AML thing's important. The other thing too that's real important, like this is probably going to end up being a housekeeping call, but get contracted with the carriers sooner than later. Like, okay, I'll do this calmly. So when Brenda, if you're brand new, and Brenda takes you through how to do your first contract, and then when she says, okay, the next companies you need to contract with are, okay, she's not saying get contracted with them a year from now. Okay, she's saying get contracted with them now, like now. Like you got spare minute, get your contracting done with that carrier. Okay, I'd recommend start doing all of them, but don't wait, because you're going to have issues if you wait and then you have to write that app on somebody and you're not contracted yet. Does that make sense? It's like we should probably be much more forceful in how we say this stuff, like taking anti-money laundering, getting contracted. I need to get Brenda to be more forceful about it, you know, because there's no excuse really, but I don't know that we emphasize this enough for you to be motivated to do it. But then what happens is, let me tell you the consequences of not doing it. Also, you have a client that needs to do Foresters, but you blew Foresters off. And then it's like, well, the only company that'll cover that situation with level benefit is Foresters Plan Right. They can do graded benefit with Mutual of Omaha. So I would say just do graded. But Alex, it's not the best policy form. Well, because you aren't contracted with Foresters, you can't write it. So you have to put them in a worse policy because that's all you can write. So do that, right? And a lot of you put yourself in those situations, and it's like you got to get contracted right away. Mutual of Omaha have their own course that you must take. Okay, let me confirm this. I gotta look at something. I know this is, look, this is important stuff, gang. Now, if you go on alliancecontracting.com, there's a thing called Contracting at a Glance. So NAAcontracting.com, go to that website, and then when you log in, you got to log in with your PIN number. There's a thing that says Contracting at a Glance. There it is, 2020, April. This is on there, okay? And so it's funny, all this stuff is out there, and let me share this. And it's there for you to access so you know what's up. Okay, so there's this, in NA contracting on the left side, it's called contracting at a glance. Let me show you what's in this file. Okay, do you see what's in here? Pre-appointment states. These show what states per carrier that you need to be appointed before you can write business. Okay? So if you have a question, can I write foresters in my state before I'm officially appointed with them? It's all in this column right here. So Allianz, you must have an active license with Allianz Life in Pennsylvania and Montana before you can write an app. All the other states, you don't need to be officially appointed. Okay, let's go down to foresters. Foresters, the pre-appointment states where you can not write a Foresters app are Pennsylvania, Louisiana, Massachusetts, New Mexico, and Connecticut. All the other states, you can write an app with Foresters prior to getting appointed. It's like here, it's all here. E&O insurance, these are required to be submitted with the contracting. So this is where you have to have E&O. So for American General, no. AIG, no. American Equity, no. Assurity, yes. Certificate must be sent. Baltimore Life, no. Columbian Financial Group, no. Equitable, yes. Certificate must be sent with new contracting. F&G Life, certificate mandatory with contracting for Alabama, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Mississippi, and Rhode Island. Okay? All the other states, no. Right? Foresters. Any agents are not required to have E&O for the sale of strong foundation, non-med, plan right, and accidental death prepared. If writing other products, E&O is required. Okay, this is a document that you have access to in NAcontracting.com that you can download, and if you have any question, it's right here. Anti-money laundering, right? So, Allianz approved vendors are Kaplan, WebCE, QuestCE, RegED, SuccessCE, required to be updated every 2 years. American General. Let's do one that Columbian Financial Group, like our mainline carriers, because Allianz really isn't one of our mainline carriers. CFG, proof should be submitted with the contract. Acceptable vendors are Alliance AML plus any independent vendor. So CFG is pretty open. See Foresters, proof should be submitted with a contract. Acceptable vendors are Alliance AML plus any independent vendor. Mutual of Omaha, proof should be submitted with a contract. Approved vendors are LIMRA, Kaplan, RegED, WebCE, and Sandy Kraus, whatever that is, LIMRA, right? National Life Group, proof should be submitted with contract. Acceptable vendors are Alliance AML, LIMRA, and RegED. Okay, it's all here. It's all here. Okay, New York products available. Most of them are no. That's why if you're in New York, you need to get your non-resident license somewhere else. Override states. See, we used to have states where you had to have a license in that state to earn overrides. Now with the ARC, we don't have that anymore. So it doesn't matter where you hire agents, you're going to override them. Okay, so you guys know where to get this now. It's in NAcontracting.com. When you log in, it's on the left side, contracting at a glance, download it, and they update it all the time, okay? So getting back to what we're talking about, right? we talk about getting contract, I'm trying to make it streamlined for you, okay, as much as possible. We're trying to make it easy. We're trying to make it like, you know, does that make sense? We're trying to make it so that when you run into issues, you've done everything you could do not to run into an issue that you caused, okay, by not asking the questions properly, okay? Here's the other thing. Because of the requirements that you might have to go back and get, the client might get real mad because you're asking them these other questions. And so why are they mad? Is because you didn't manage their expectations when you closed the sale. You might have made the typical error, most agents, all right, when you get approved, you're going to get the policy in the mail and life's good. Congratulations. You're all like optimistic. See, the problem with that is when you call them back, say, hey, listen, they need to get a letter from your doctor to let them know that that medication you're taking is not because of this, but it's because of this, and that this part is acceptable. So, well, they got to get, I cancel the policy. What? Cancel the policy. They had to ask all these questions. They should ask it the first time around, blah, 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 blah. You're going to lose sales because you didn't manage their expectations. At the end of the sale, we tell them what's going to happen, right? And that part of that what's going to happen, part of that is, now look, I might have to come back and ask you some other questions because things going to come up in your MIB, your prescription, or your motor vehicle report that may not jive with what the application says. And I might have to come back with some additional questions, a supplemental form, but we are going to work at getting this approved. Okay, Joe, so are you going to get, so this is a great Sandler technique. Are you going to get mad at me because I have to come back and ask some additional questions? That is a great Sandler technique. Do that. Are you going to get mad at me because I have to come back and get some more questions? Or are you going to be, able to work with me to get it approved? When you close a sale like that, then when you got to come back, you don't run into them getting pissed off. Excuse my substitute swear word, I guess. I guess pissed is a swear word. I'm just trying to make a point. Like, I'm trying to get you guys paid, man. Remember the part where I don't make money unless you make money? When you don't get paid, I don't get paid. And everyone looks at underwriting as, the gatekeeper. Like, you look at underwriting's trying to get you paid too, but they cannot take a risk that the client's not paying the proper premium for, okay? Because that'll put them out of business. And if they go out of business, they can't pay us commissions when we sell their great products. Does that make sense? Like, seriously, am I like preaching to the choir, or is this like making sense to anybody? Like, give me some feedback on the chat line. Like, or is this just a pain in the ass here that, that this is, like, you don't want to work this hard? Well, I'm sorry, this is part of your job, is getting stuff issued. Right? I mean, I'm harping on this because I want to get you guys paid. I want you to manage your business properly, but a lot of this stuff can be done on the front end. Okay, so maybe you don't need to hear from me, you need to hear from other people. So let's talk to other people about this idea of managing your business. Karen Musil, she's my experienced agent. Karen Musil, can you unmute yourself, please? I saw you on here. Here she is. Hello, Karen. Maybe some people are just having problems unmuting. Karen, are you able to unmute? Anybody that has experience in managing your business to issue, asking additional questions? Well, I guess no one's able to unmute. I had a few people able to unmute.
Hello?
Oh, there we go. Karen.
Yes, Alex.
Okay, give me your thoughts on this so everyone's just not droning me out, like I'm not. Talk to us about this whole idea of managing your business and managing expectations. That's probably the better word.
Yeah, I think the best thing you can say as you're doing an application with the client is, I don't make the final decision. We have to send this in. Underwriting makes the decision. Based on what you've shared with me, I believe you will be approved for this. But if something comes back, we have other options. And this is plan A. And if for some reason we can't get plan A, we look at plan B.
Awesome. So when you have to go back for requirements, how do you talk to the client when you got to ask for something from them? What do you say to them?
It's oftentimes the company gives you a clue as to how to start that conversation with the client, because if it doesn't come back approved, it's telling you something like due to DMV, due to prescription history, due to MIB. So you have a starting point with the client, and I call them back and I'm like, okay, I did hear from the underwriters, and if they've already said they're going to send out a letter to the client that it's declined, then I let the client know, you're getting this letter. We need to find out what is in your driving record, in your prescription record, in your MIB, whatever it is, that's different than what we expected, because based on what we were expecting, this should have been okay, and they're seeing something different. So we need to find out what that is.
And then how do you handle like when there's a phone interview required? How do you inform the client? What do you say to them as far as managing the whole expectations on a phone interview?
On a phone interview, in a non-COVID world, I want to be there with the client to, number one, make sure they do the interview and kind of give them groundwork beforehand, but not as easy to do in this world now in some parts of the country. So I'm just explaining there's something that they're questioning, or you were just selected at random. We don't know which until you do this interview with them. They're going to ask you the exact same questions I went through with you. And don't offer extra information, but answer each question honestly. And oftentimes those phone interviews come up with older clients where, maybe they told you they had cancer 15 years ago, or whatever particular health event it might be. I will remind them that the question on the application is, in the last 5 years, have you had cancer? I said, so you don't need to tell them about what happened 15 years ago. Just answer the question they're asking. If you offer more information, they're going to start going down a rabbit hole with you. And I just want this to be as clean and simple as it can be for you. So just answer the questions they ask. Don't offer extra.
Yeah. Answer only the question asked. Yeah, absolutely. Keep them from yapping. That's such an important thing for sure. Anyone else that been through this hell of getting stuff issued and things that you could have done better or things that you've learned to do better in managing your business? How many of y'all just like wait for an insurance company to call you or to contact you? That's not a good move.
I get real anal when it comes to the underwriting department. I mean, I'm setting up a planning session with my clients. We're talking about what to expect, but then I'm going through the process with them. We'll speak maybe every other day to make sure that everything is uploaded, and then I'll talk with underwriters, make sure that they have everything, make sure you're looking through your portal, make sure they have everything. And yeah, just like was explained earlier, you're going over a lot of the questions. If you're going to get a phone interview, things of that sort, you don't want to have anybody guessing what's to come.
Right.
It keeps your reputation with them even better. And you want to have that white glove touch. I mean, I tell people, look, let me be your concierge, so to speak. If you're the concierge, you're helping them, and you're making certain expectations for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.